Hey, we're live, and we're not wearing masks. Now, for one reason, we're not anywhere near each other or other humans, unless Gerard, you got a bunch of humans around you there?
No, it's just me.
It's just him. Gerard Gilberto is our baseball writer who has no baseball to cover. Oh, yeah, you do tonight. I forgot about that.
Yeah.
I was thinking the Penguins had the day off. Yeah,
Well,
Pirates.
I
Pirates
gotta
have
run.
the Pirates have the Giants tonight at 6:35 at PNC Park. And did you get them? Did you understand this mask thing before we get formally started? Have you read up on this?
The new CDC thing with fully
Yeah. What?
vaccinated. I didn't read it. I didn't read into it fully. Yeah, I haven't.
Yeah, I guess it's
I don't imagine I would be able to cover a game without a mask anytime
well,
soon.
no, they say that any place that has like individual regulations.
Yeah,
So, like they said, for example, well, obviously stadiums and arenas and stuff like that, but also airplanes and places where it's become, kind of commonplace. But yeah, I did not see this coming, but there it is. It's going to be weird,
Oh yeah. It's funny meeting people for the first time, like in the
You,
Pirates press box and stuff. Like, oh, I've seen your face 1,000 times, but good to see. Good to be in the same room as you now.
I can imagine for you, especially you being new on the beat and everything,
Yeah, I haven't met any players or coaches.
it's incredible.
Yeah,
Like I forget about that, but it's true.
yeah.
We're going to be joined by Dale Lolley here, but we're going to go ahead and get started with the formal portion of this thing here right about now. Okay. Well, hello and welcome to the Mike's Beer Bar Afternoon Ask Anything. I'm Dejan Kovacevic, joined by Gerard Gilberto, our baseball writer at DK Pittsburgh Sports. We'll be joined in a moment or two by Dale Lolley, our football writer. And the way this works is you leave questions, whether it's on Twitter, Facebook, YouTube. Make sure when you do Twitter, you don't just reply on Twitter. You have to hit the little Periscope designation at the bottom right of the video. You'll see it there. That sends you into the old Periscope thing. That's where you actually send the questions. What's going on, Gerard?
Hey, how's it going?
Where's your mask?
I'm in my apartment by myself, so I'm good.
We have a bunch of stuff here to go through here. Let's get started right off the bat here with a football one from Corey Hecker, who says, with the NFL schedule released, I'm still seeing 11 wins if Ben stays upright. Oh, no. Well, I'll tell you what, Ben did stay upright in 2020, and it still didn't keep the offense from fading terribly down the stretch. And there's Dale right now. Dale can jump in on this question right away. Can you see it, Dale?
I can see it. Yeah. That's every team if the quarterback stays upright. I mean, quite frankly, how many games the Chiefs winning without Patrick Mahomes? How many games are the Bills winning without Josh Allen, or the Ravens without Lamar Jackson? And quite frankly, this could be a season, especially if Josh Allen and Lamar Jackson get the contract, extensions that they're expected to get during this offseason. If you're the Bills and the Ravens, do you want those guys running the ball 160, 100, the 200 times if you're going to be paying them or sinking, $150 million into them? I don't know. But yeah, I think, when I look at the Steelers schedule, I was just making notes. Pull back the curtain. I was just writing insider stuff. They go almost 2 months and only get on a plane once. They have the second shortest air miles traveled this year. So, yeah, you can complain about, well, this team's tough and that team's tough and all that stuff. But in terms of beating your body up, getting on a plane and those kind of things, that's not happening this year.
Well, Ben stayed upright in 2020, and it didn't work out real well.
Well, it worked out for 12 wins. It's just not the way that, everybody might have wanted. But
in the end here, Let's have some baseball questions, people. I'm not seeing any baseball questions here. Steven says, has any Pittsburgh athlete ticked you off more than Todd Frazier? Oh, my God. Yeah, I don't even know the guy. This isn't even close. Dale, let's talk about Mike Mitchell. Let's talk about guys James Harrison. Todd Frazier's like nothing compared to these guys. He was. I
never had a problem with James Harrison. We had a pretty good relationship. I don't know that others can say that, but there's been some guys. Emmanuel Sanders comes to mind. Chad Scott was always kind of a jerk. That comes with the territory. I mean, just last month, Steven Nelson came after me on social media. It happens. It's no big deal.
No, it definitely is not here. Swan asks, he says something nice about my podcast from today about Will Craig seemed to inspire the team to promote him. Gerard, I'm not thinking that it was my podcast that did it.
No, it's they did IL Phillip Evans, which is just really – this last couple of weeks have been just awful.
For him? You mean for everybody?
For everybody. I mean, Moran's down, and Evans is down, and Crick is down, and Cool is down. And all these guys are down, and we had this, mystery injury with Brian Reynolds missing a couple games this weekend, and now it's Phillip Evans that has a hamstring. So he's on the IL. Craig comes up, hit a couple home runs the other day, hit another one last night. Time to give him a chance, right? Like what?
What's funny, Gerard? You've covered minor league baseball at MILB.com for a long time, and you know that there are guys that certain organizations just lose faith in, or never had faith in to begin with. And Will Craig, to me, is the perfect example. 2013 first-round pick, who's hit home runs, and he's kind of hit okay, in terms of other metrics in AAA in a couple of years down there. But new management comes along. They have no attachment to him. They're not married to him in any way. He's got 4 total plate appearances in the majors. First-round pick who can't even buy himself a cup of coffee in Pittsburgh. And I guess that's the thing that got me. Like, man, you're running out of first baseman here. You had Eric Gonzalez there last night. Let him play, Yeah,
oh yeah. And I think they're up against it now, and they didn't really have much of a choice. And obviously, we see they're thinking with let's see, we just got the lineup here. Yeah, he's batting 8th tonight and playing first base. So, yeah.
But even then,
they can't be any worse.
That's the thing. I mean, these guys are hitting 0.43 or something. I mean, we're talking about
one guy, and he's good. So that's
Todd Frazier had 2 or 3 more hits than the 3 of us combined.
Nice. Save the Todd Frazier jabs for me, please. Thank you. Sherrod asks, what minor league affiliate has a chance to win a championship this year? Wouldn't that be our Grasshoppers?
You better hope not, because it means they'd be there the whole year, right?
Oh, good call.
The goal is to get promoted.
That's Greensboro. Greensboro. Yeah, exactly.
So hopefully Roansy Contreras isn't in Altoona much longer, and Peguero has a right knee problem now. They don't tell us specifically what it is. I just imagine it's sore, sprain, whatever it is. But Gonzalez is there, Priester's there. If they're going well, they're not going to be there by the end of the year. So hey, might as well say Indy, because everything's new now. The Indy roster that exists now, hopefully, if everything goes well, is not the Indy roster.
No.
As far as
put some new flags up in Indianapolis. I don't know if have you been to that park, Gerard?
No, have not been to Indianapolis.
I go to Indianapolis, of course, every year except for this year, and they always have the former players, the former star players up, and it's Jamison Taillon,
Andrew McCutchen,
same guys.
Yeah,
not anymore.
Well, go ahead.
Daniel down in Brazil asks, hey, guys, DK, I know you like analytics in hockey, but they don't tell the whole story. What do you think the analytics guys need to do in order for them to be more accurate? Well, this applies actually more to baseball and football than it does to hockey, because hockey's analytics data is so crude. And I say that knowing that the NHL actually just this morning put out a release that said they're going to put out all kinds of advanced data related to the next time the Avalanche play, because they want to start getting their analytics people used to more metrics. Example, Gerard, when did line drive rate come into baseball? When did they start being able, you could just look at see exit velocity?
StatCast started tracking in 2015.
Okay, so it hasn't been that long. Dale, when did Next Gen Stats start on NFL? That wasn't just like a couple of years ago, right?
Yeah, it's been within the last couple of years.
And look at the difference it makes even in our coverage. We were able to say all last season that Ben Roethlisberger had the fastest release time in the NFL. Never mind that he was freaking out because his blockers couldn't hold people off. He still had the fastest release time in the NFL. Why? Because we knew we had that data. In hockey, everything is predicated off the shot attempt. It's crazy. We're building off possession metrics and everything else. We don't track the velocity of the shot, the accuracy of the shot. So when we say that something is a high danger scoring chance in hockey, Daniel, we're just basing it on where the dude was on the rink. That's it. Did he actually make a good shot? Did he put some gusto on it? We have no idea from the data that's available. So maybe we're getting there. Maybe we're getting there. Swan says Juju's not a fan of the 17-game season. Is this a surprise, and do you think the majority of the players feel this way?
Well, I know that more than 50% of them don't, because they voted for it.
They've voted for it.
I mean, the veteran guys can complain about it as much as they want. The problem in the NFL with their union is that there are 53 guys in that locker room, and of the 53, there are probably 40 of those guys who are just trying to make it to the next season. And then you get your 13 to 20 established veterans who aren't going anywhere. They're going to be in the league for 5 to 6 years. The rest of them are just trying to get another year on the contract, so that the owners could go to those guys and say, "Hey, how about we play 17 games on the moon?" And those guys would be, "Okay, let's do it." I'll take that money, because that's just the reality of the situation. You're never going to get full agreement on anything in an NFL locker room, because there's so many guys in different situations.
Yeah, they're hanging on by their fingernails, and it's not like the owners don't know how to exploit that. They're actually really, really, really good at it. CJ says, Gerard, do you think that Mitch Keller can stay out of his head and allow Jacob Stallings to call the pitches that will allow him to be successful?
I don't think it's Stallings' issue. No. I think Stallings can. You could throw anybody back there. You throw Yadier Molina back there. It's all up to Mitch. He's got to make those pitches, and I know that a lot of the talk of it is what could be viewed as a lack of conviction or whatever it is, but it's if he can throw strikes first and foremost, great, and then he's got to hit spots. You saw what happened a couple nights ago against the Reds. The pitches were in the zone, but they're getting crushed because they're getting way too much plate. And then the next night, Brubaker comes out and he's hitting corners and hitting the black of plenty. So yeah, it's pitch execution with Keller, and if it's in his head, it's in his head. And yeah, it's we say it all the time. The stuff is there, and potential, and I know people sort of roll their eyes at potential, but potential in this case means capability.
Honestly, I saw a lot of the same things out of Tyler Glasnow early in his career. Yeah. Almost the same exact thing. Until these young pitchers get up and do it, at that level, either they're too dumb to know better, and they just don't care. I'm just going to throw it up there, and if they hit it, they hit it. Or you get the other side of the coin where they're afraid to give up hits. I coach baseball, and I would much rather have my pitcher getting knocked around than going out there and walking 7 guys.
Yeah, see, I thought Keller's outing the other night at PNC Park, the one where he got rocked in the 4th inning, I actually found that to be part of his continuing progress. I'm sorry. I liked what I saw of him in San Diego. He was able to get results. He didn't get results in the 4th, but he never stopped throwing in the zone. This was about when Glasnow was still with the Pirates and he came up. Kyle Crick, I can tell this story out of turn. Kyle Crick, he's just tremendous to be around. Crick pulled me over one day to his stall and said, "Man, why don't they just let him pitch? meaning Glasnow. And I go, what do you mean? I knew what he meant. I just wanted him to say it, What do you mean, Kyle? He goes, well, they're always telling him, think of this and think of that and think of this and think of that. Look at this arm this guy's got. Look at the movement on these pitches. Leave him alone. And everyone gives Tampa Bay all this credit, like they were the Glasnow whisperers or something. Tyler will tell you himself that when he got to St. Petersburg, all he did was just start throwing the baseball. Not much to it. Let's see what else we got here. Wes says, who on the Penguins besides Geno, Sid, and Letang will be the most impactful for the team to make a deep run?
That's easy. Christian Jarry.
Yeah, I'm not how you left him out there, Wes. Yeah, if Dale's jumping in with the quick hockey answers, man.
It's always about the goaltender, isn't it?
It is. In the East Division specifically, I'll say this. I look at the Islanders, and I don't trust Semyon Varlamov in goal, and not just because he's been held out of some practices this week on Long Island, but I also look at the rest of the East Division, and the only goaltender that I see who's more established, who's better, is the obvious one, and that's Tuukka Rask in Boston, who the Penguins might not even get to if they end up losing to Washington. If Tristan Jarry can be the main guy, can be the guy in the playoffs. Wow, man. Different world here. We're now having a totally different discussion about the Penguins here. Steven asks, any word on the start of the series? Yes, Sunday at noon is game 1. Game 2 is Tuesday. Game 3, we head on up to Long Island for there. Dale, what's the deal with Dwayne Haskins? Is he really going to be look at his face. Is he really going to be the future after Ben Roethlisberger? It's a fair question.
But let's not put the horse ahead of the cart, or behind the cart ahead of the horse, I should say. He's going to make the roster first. He's not guaranteed of anything here. He's got to beat out. First of all, he's got to beat out Josh Dobbs for the number 3 spot. Now, I expect that to happen, but he's not even going to be number 2 this year. Mason Rudolph is a number 2 quarterback on this football team. Haskins has to prove that A, he can get his head on straight, and then B, run this offense. No, I wouldn't say he's really going to be the future after Ben. I think he's got a chance to be part of that, but he's got to show that he can do it first.
Yeah, he's got to make a step up. That's the phrase that I've been using as it relates to Haskins for a while, is that he's got an opportunity here in Pittsburgh. He's got an opportunity, Dale, in the same context that Paxton Lynch did. And I keep putting him in the same line with Paxton Lynch. Another first-round pick came here from Denver, and they kind of stored him off to the side and said, here's a project. Look, when you get your reps, make the most of them. They're watching every practice rep just as much as they are every game rep,
Yep.
Rob has a customer service complaint here. He says he was gifted his DK subscription. He can't access it, and no one has gotten back to him yet. Just to show you how transparent we are, Rob, we're right here, man. Send the actual complaint right here. We will take care of it during the airing of this program, whatever you got there. No, actually, don't do that, because we need your email address, and you don't want to put that up here for everybody. So email help@dkpittsburghsports.com, and we will happily take care of you today. Tim also gives my podcast credit for Will Craig's promotion, and that's absolutely ridiculous. Wes clarifies that he was talking about skaters, Dale, not Jarry. So stop jumping in on the hockey stuff, man.
Is Jarry not on skates out there?
Oh, wow. If you're going for a skater here, most important guy, I would say beyond that, beyond the 3 that you mentioned here, would be Jake Gensel. I mean, Jake Gensel is a playoff performer, a proven playoff performer here. Paul says, weren't Clint Hurdle and Derek Shelton former hitting coaches? So why, with actual hitting coaches and former hitting coaches, why do the Pirates have issues hitting? And why is the hitting coach still here? Go ahead, Gerard.
Have you seen the lineup the last couple of days?
Yeah.
Why does nobody ever mention that?
Have you ever heard to Paul? Have you ever heard it's the Indian, not the arrow? When people talk about kids, you go out and buy your kid a $500 bat. It doesn't make him hit any better. You can have all the coaching in the world. I mean, these guys are all coached up. They probably, most of them at this point, have been coached since they were 5 years old. In many cases, you can either hit or you can't.
Yeah,
These guys could
I
all
think
hit at some point.
I think what they've already gotten out of this group is probably more than what we should have expected, and this is not a group that should be seeing regular at bats. Look at Wilmer Defoe. Wilmer Defoe's lead the league in pinch hits, but then
That's
you
my
know he
guy.
goes and is he really?
Just
All
so
right.
he can
Well,
say,
Dale's
"Are we
guy
not?"
is
Are,
Wilmer Defoe.
are,
But Wilmer Defoe leads the league in pinch hits, but then he put him in the lineup and he I think he was like 0 for 16 or something like that as a
Yeah.
starter.
That's
So
what he is. He's a
these guys are
part-time
just
player.
not built for. Yeah, some of these guys are just not built for it. And like Eric Gonzalez, great compliment off the bench, and I think he can. You talk about trade candidates and stuff like that. I think with his glove and his ability to play third base, I think he can absolutely be a trade candidate. But I wouldn't want him getting 500 at bats in a season.
Yeah, that's the thing with the Pirates. The general sentiment in the public is so negative that as soon as they do well, no one asks. Or I'm sorry, as soon as they don't do well, no one asks why. They just think this is the default mode. So if you tell them, well, listen, do you understand what kind of an impact Brian Hayes would be having in this lineup right now? Do you understand that, Gerard? You've laid eyes on this kid on a regular basis down there. This kid is not an accident. He's not a fluke.
Right, and he's been out since game 2.
Yeah,
it's not the Mets where like you paid a guy $350 million and if he's not hitting after a month, fire everybody. It's not that it can't be viewed in the same light. And obviously, we talk about guys growing and patience needed and letting the kids learn, and that's. You got to take that into perspective as well.
So Much Bush says, will the McCann, Carter, and Goodroll line stay together in the playoffs, or will Evan Rodriguez get in when healthy? I'm not touching that line, man. There's no chance. One of the advantages that you're going to have over New York, and I believe the Penguins have many advantages over them, is not fourth line depth, because the Islanders, of course, have trademark best fourth line in hockey. The Penguins have a better third line than what New York has. The Penguins have a better second line than what New York has. And I think these are important advantages that you need to take advantage of. You go out and you get yourself a Jeff Carter so that his line makes sense. Well, right now, if you watch the Penguins over the last couple of weeks, the Carter line's been their best line. You wouldn't list it that way on the chart, but they've been the most effective line. You're absolutely not taking Freddie Goodroll off there. So long as Freddie stays good on the PK, that's what matters more than anything toward the bottom 6 here. Tim says Troy Stokes looks like someone who can play the outfield. Any chance he gets a long look versus the retreads?
He's getting it now. I mean, they have 5 outfielders, right? And they broke camp with 4, including 2, as you say, retreads. But now there's 5 guys out there, and I don't see any reason why you'd want to cut Ben Gamel loose, especially, I mean, I'm the only one that thinks they actually gave up a lot for Ben Gamel. But, it's still anybody that you give something up for is worth giving an extra shot, and Stokes can be optioned up and down. So, I would like to see him. I think it'd be much more entertaining. The guy could actually hit a ball out of the park as good or better than most on this roster. He actually square one up better than most on this roster too. So yeah, I'd love to see it. And, I'm not sure how much longer they're willing to roll with Ben Gamel. And Kai Tom obviously earned the spots. Like, he's going to get more time.
Randy Steele asks, is BJ Finney not being adequately respected as the possible starting center for the Steelers this season? Dale, please share with everyone how strongly Mike Tomlin feels about BJ Finney.
Yeah, I mean, they like him a lot. I think that had they had their choice last year, they would have re-signed him. This is still the same guy who got $4.5 million a year from Seattle. They feel like that he's a long-term NFL offensive lineman. I know that for a fact. They feel like he's a guy that can play into his mid-30s. Now, whether that comes to fruition or not, for whatever reason, things didn't work out for him last year. You changed teams. It was COVID. There was all kinds of issues there. that he wasn't able to work out and those kind of things. Great. And maybe he just didn't fit in Seattle. But I know he fits in here. I know he's respected in that locker room. I know they're 11-2 in the 13 starts that he's made over the course of his career.
Wow.
So
I didn't know that.
They've had some of their best running days. Now this goes back to Le'Veon Bell and even some James Conner stuff, but they've had some of their better running games with BJ Finney in the starting lineup. So yeah, I think, it wouldn't surprise me if Finney is if he starts all season long. That doesn't mean that Kendrick Green is some kind of failure. That just means that BJ Finney's been good.
Yeah, that's the thing with Kendrick Green he has to play center. And I understand that they believe that he can play center. And I also understand that one summer and then 3 weeks of reps in Latrobe might not necessarily be able to achieve that. And he has to play center in a way that's conducive with the franchise quarterback.
Yeah, I don't think the actual playing of center will be a problem for Kendrick Green. It's everything else that's being asked of him. Can he make the line calls? Can he do those kind of things? That's going to be the difference. And I know that BJ Finney can do those things, especially with a very young offensive line around him.
Swan says, Gerard, if the A's leave Oakland, what city do you think will be the new home of the Athletics?
I should have worn my A's hat today. Washington, PA would be a great spot.
Wild things get bumped.
I was going to say Staten Island, New York, Dale. You were reading my mind. I think it'll be Nashville. I know Epstein had joined that group to – is it Epstein? Dombrowski. One of the former Red Sox executives joined that group to move a team to Nashville. Vegas, you'd have to build a dome or a retractable roof. You cannot play day baseball in Vegas. There's a reason that the Arizona League doesn't play day games too. Like, you can't play daytime baseball in the desert. So I think Nashville would be the most attractive option. That or Charlotte. That AAA park in Charlotte is awesome. Like,
it's really pretty. It really is. It's right downtown, and it's expandable. Yeah. It was, however, I have 3 words for this conversation: Montreal, Quebec, Canada. Simple as that. The Expos need to come back to Major League Baseball. Whenever the Blue Jays were playing these exhibition games in Toronto before the pandemic, and they're bringing in 57,000 people per night in that dump, the O, which is nowhere near downtown. Bring back the Montreal Expos. It'll be a plus for all of baseball.
You can't change the name, though. It's got to be the A's.
I'm sure the Pirates would sell out too if they only had one game a year.
Les Athletiques.
I've got 8 Oakland A's hats. They can't change the logo. They can't change the team.
Yeah.
Oh man. I thought I saw here. Old Chris jumps in and says, I've been to plenty of 50s ones and Aviators games in Vegas when it's 1:05 at night. Cheers. David says, do you fellas think Letang will join Crosby and Malkin in the Hall of Fame when he's done? That, for me, is an unequivocal no. He's never even been a finalist for the Norris Trophy. And at some point or other, I'm sorry, but when you're in the Hall in any sport, you have to be considered at least the best at your position or one of the very best at your position. To me, that's just a single common denominator across the scope of sports. Letang will be considered, I believe, the greatest defenseman in Penguins history, but that doesn't put you in the Hall of Fame. Let's see here. Dale, which UDFA that's undrafted free agent would you guys like to see make this 53-man roster? Love the show and the Steelers drive. Dale, is it Shakur Brown? Is that your guy?
I think he's got the best inside track to make it. I like if Mark Gilbert can regain what he had a few years ago before he had the hip and ankle injuries. I mean, this is a kid that had 6 interceptions. He has the NFL bloodlines. His uncle Sean Gilbert, his cousin is Ty Law.
You're from Aliquippa,
yeah, from Aliquippa, and then Jamar Watson out of Kentucky as an edge rusher is a guy to keep an eye on as well.
Richard says, I've always liked and rooted for Adam Frazier. Why don't the Pirates work out a long-term deal with him? yes, the farm has a lot of up-and-coming kids, may or may not work out, but Adam can play the outfield, the possible exception of Swaggerty. I don't see anyone coming up. There's valid points to be made about the lack of organizational outfield depth, but there's also points to be made for not moving Adam Frazier around when he's a two-time now finalist for Gold Glove at second base. The thing is, Gerard, he's 29 years old, and you could actually make the case that he could be, to borrow Ben Cherington's favorite term, part of the next winning Pirates team.
Yeah, so let's take this one point at a time. What's one way to add to your prospect level depth in the outfield? You trade Adam Frazier. And the other thing is you have to provide a reason for him to want to sign in 2 years when he's a free agent. And if you're still in this rebuild and you're still doing this and still doing that, he might not want to be here. And you got to make it an attractive location for him. Unfortunately, that might mean trading him to get something back in return. If you could get an outfield prospect, we're not talking about their outfield depth anymore. Maybe they draft. I mean, they have a high second-round pick this year. Maybe that's an outfielder. So we don't know what this farm system is going to look like in 3 months. So it's tough to say now, but I think so long as he's here and he's hitting the ball, that stock's just going up and up, and it's going to be hard not to trade him. If he was hitting 275 and middling defense or whatever, yeah, might as well see if you could get more life out of him. But he might be playing too well. You say this about Tyler Anderson all the time.
Yeah, I don't know how many people realize this right now. Adam Frazier's OPS is number 1 in all of Major League Baseball among second basemen by a wide margin.
The guy can hit.
The guy can hit when he's, how that's you've watched him for years, Dale. When he's on, you've also seen him. You've seen him also go ice cold when he's on.
To your point, he's not a bad defender either at second base.
He's not. So, he doesn't have like Pokey Reese range,
right?
But he catches what comes his way.
No, he made that play. That play he made a couple weeks ago when they were shifted on the righty. Yeah, that was great. And that's another reason why you don't move him to the outfield. Regardless of what you need. If you got a guy that good that could play second base, put him at second base.
Yeah, and quite frankly, he would be a below average outfielder in terms of what you're getting power wise and things of that nature.
That also means he'd be a dramatic upgrade over what they've got out there right now. We got time for 2 more here. Paul says, which team locker room gets lost first? The Jags having Tebow as tight end or the Packers trading Aaron Rodgers? All I know is that the Pittsburgh Steelers would welcome a trade of Aaron Rodgers before they make the trek up to Green Bay, Wisconsin. Let's see Aaron Love take on TJ Watt.
Yeah, the Tebow thing is getting overblown. He's a Jacksonville legend. I mean, they would probably name him mayor of Jacksonville right now, and because he grew up there. He played Florida. He played at Florida. He won the national championship at Florida. They need to sell tickets. And so, you bring in Tim Tebow, you let him try out at tight end, you sell a few extra season tickets. That's all that's about. So I don't see that as being a huge deal. The Aaron Rodgers thing, yeah, that's a big deal. That's a Hall of Fame quarterback who doesn't want to be there anymore, potentially. We've seen that happen with Tom Brady.
I'm just glad I don't have to write about Tebow anymore. That was
that's right. That was your gig.
Oh, my God.
Richard says a lot of announcers are giving the Islanders the advantage in 7 games, man. I haven't seen that. Where have you seen that? However, with the way they've been playing and with the Penguins pickup of Jeff Carter and the fact that the Penguins won 6 out of 8 meetings, I don't quite understand the prediction. What do the Penguins have to worry about in the upcoming series? What they have to worry about is underperforming, which is hardly without precedent. They underperformed significantly last summer against Montreal. They never got their legs going. They never found a way to beat Carey Price. Yes, Carey Price was playing well, but you got to find different ways to beat the goaltender in those situations. You have to screen him. You have to make his life miserable. They didn't do any of those things. They do hold the keys to beating the Islanders. They have what it takes. Clearly, 6 out of 8. They've done it. They've beaten Barry Trotz's system. They've outskated these guys. They're a faster team than the Islanders are. And as you point, the Islanders have not played well for quite a while mostly since Anders Lee went down. And that's not a coincidence. He was their captain. We can handle, let's see, one more, and this one will come in from actually, no, real quick ones here on this one here. There's one for Gerard and one for Dale. Swan, would Tyler Anderson, of all the tradables, bring back the best prospects when he's traded?
No, Rich Rodriguez, I think. Either him or Adam Frazier.
Over a starting pitcher?
Yeah, it's Tyler Anderson. What did you
Tyler
know
Anderson
about
pitching like this?
Yeah, and is that sustainable? Has he shown throughout his career that he could sustain it?
Yeah, but he's also a lefty, and you know how that goes with those guys mature later. And Jay Happ, a lot of the same stuff was said about Jay Happ when he came here from Seattle, and then he turned into
into Jay Happ.
You're right, but you don't pay a steep price for Jay Happ.
Right. Kevin says, I'd love to see Big Ben and more of our starters in the preseason. I know age, injury, player evaluation, but it would be nice to face the Bills with some rhythm. Seems to work for other teams. Dale, we're already lobbying for Ben to play all 4 preseason games, including, by the way, the Hall of Fame game in Canton.
The Rams didn't play a single starter in the preseason a couple of years ago.
Really? I didn't know that.
Not a single one. I think that's one of the most overblown things. These guys know how to play. The Bills are going to be in the same boat. You think the Bills are going to play Josh Allen a bunch in the preseason? No, they're not going to play their stars. You get your guys just enough time to get in there and get ready to play. One of the things I think that's overblown, because one of the things that doesn't change about the Steelers until maybe this year is the offensive scheme is generally the same every year. The defensive scheme is generally the same every year. So when teams are preparing for the Steelers, they know exactly what to prepare for. So therefore, they look better early on because they have a better idea of what the Steelers are going to do. Patriots are the same way. The Patriots always come out of the gate slowly because nothing changes. You know exactly what to expect from them. Whereas these other teams that have turnover, they got a little bit of the element of surprise there. So it's not about the team starting slowly. It's about the preparation level involved. And so I think that, this year with Matt Canada taking over the offense, you'll see some new wrinkles there, and it makes the Steelers a little less predictable.
Yeah, new offensive line as well, really, for the most part, when you go across left to right. I guess that would be devil's advocate. That would be the one thing I'd state in favor of trying to get as many on the field reps as possible.
But I think they'll get reps.
Yeah,
maybe other than DeCastro, but the rest of it, I'm not playing Ben. Plus, they got young quarterbacks to look at.
Yeah, exactly. We need to get Dwayne Haskins lined up as the successor sooner rather than later here. Thanks to everybody for participating in this really, really good session here. This will end up being put out as a podcast, as it always is here. Gerard's heading over to the ballpark. Dale's getting ready for mini camp tomorrow, and I'm heading to Long Island. I guess it's next week. And the Penguins, of course, open the Stanley Cup playoffs.
Be careful of the iced teas up in Long Island, DK.
Yeah, I know.
They're not what you think they are.
No. Whatever they're serving at the Long Island Marriott, as far as I'll be checking out spectacular Uniondale, New York. Thanks to everybody for participating and all that other stuff.